All right, President Obama is going down to Louisiana to view all of the flood damage, and you're going to have retired General Honore. He's a Louisiana native. He's going to give us some what I consider to be valid information regarding the situation down in Louisiana. And then you're going to have Roland discuss it with his panel. And I just don't understand people that push a losing position that they can't defend. But Roland, I guess, is going to get into it with Paris Denard. He's a quote-unquote black Republican supporting Donald Trump. Well, you know, and he's supporting him for his own reasons. But anyway, let me get into the video, and I may not even go all the way through the back and forth with him and Roland because, be honest with you, it got a little ridiculous.
The president can't be everywhere. I can tell you that the president has been closely monitoring the situation.
Folks, vacation time is over. President Barack Obama is now making his way to Louisiana, where flooding has claimed 13 lives and left thousands of people homeless. Many have criticized the president for not cutting his vacation in Martha's Vineyard short and visiting the state sooner. But Louisiana's governor initially told the president to stay put as to not take attention away from flood victims. Here's a look at the latest in Louisiana. New figures estimate the flood damage is at least $20 billion. More than 100,000 people have applied for federal aid. More than 60,000 homes have been damaged. For some displaced residents, the flooding is bringing back painful memories of evacuations during Hurricane Katrina 11 years ago. Joining us via FaceTime right now from Baton Rouge is retired Army General Russell Honore. Still on the panel here, Paris Denard, Tiffany Lofton, Dr. Cleo Monago. General Honore, real quick, I said point blank the president did not need to visit Baton Rouge until waters receded because a presidential visit gets in the way. I did believe the president should have not just made a written statement. He should have gone before the cameras. Do you believe it was smart for the president to stay away from Baton Rouge until waters receded?
Yes, I've come to a resounding conclusion, Martin, after dealing with Katrina and Rita, that the best place for the president is to be in a position where they can make decisions and not come in during the search and rescue phase, which is when we are actively using all assets, boats, police, fire, as well as volunteers who go out and rescue people from their homes. And that is not the time for a presidential visit. And that was my experience during Katrina and Rita, and now and Gustav, as well as now on the retired side here and working as a volunteer with the Red Cross here in Baton Rouge, that it's not an appropriate time for the president to come do a search and rescue.
What does a presidential visit actually accomplish? Now look, we know what took place in Hurricane Katrina, and then there were calls for President George W. Bush to go to Louisiana. One of the points that I make, that the difference between, and again, I don't like any loss of life, but if you compare 13 lives in Baton Rouge to more than 1,000, more than 1,500 in Hurricane Katrina, you can't even remotely compare Katrina to Baton Rouge.
No, but it's the search and rescue phase is the problem, Martin, whether you got 1,000 or, and at that time, by that time of the week, there were people talking about maybe 10,000 dead. Bro, it took us about 7 days before we even cleaned that number up. The mayor and others were talking about up to 10,000 until we finished the search and rescue, which took about 10 days. When we came back and adjusted that number. So search and rescue is when you see the helicopters and the boats taking people out, and that's, in this storm, it lasted longer than normal than a hurricane in that regard, because the storm, when the floodwaters went from the northern part of the state and they flew south, each place that water went to, it created another flood. 24, 36 hours after the water stopped falling, we were still having floods created. So I think that's about the clearest way to extent. Let's get through search and rescue, and the presidents need to come. It's a big morale booster to the people, and they can see it firsthand, and put the eyes of the press, as it should be on a major disaster. Correctional number, we have over 110,000 homes, Martin, that were affected by the water and underwater, and 7,300 businesses. Most of those are small businesses. And as well as in some parish, over 50% of the schools are underwater, as well as the courthouses. So this is a catastrophic event. The president's coming. Before he arrived, he had FEMA on the ground. We had a presidential declaration started the second day of the event, and federal sources as well as the Red Cross have come as requested. So we've gotten the outside help we need at this point. What we need to have is a better understanding, Martin, and a more generous settlement with the government, with FEMA. The last flood we had here last year, FEMA only paid about $7,700 per home on average. And that's not nearly going to cover the amount of damage that we see in these people's homes.
General Honore, we certainly appreciate you joining us. Thank you so very much, and keep us abreast of what happens down there.
Well, I thank the president for coming. It's going to be a big day in Louisiana.
All right, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. We're going to go to our panel.
All right, so I believe that that's really accurate information. That was a man that participated in the Hurricane Katrina search, rescue, cleanup operation, as well as various other weather-related natural disasters throughout the years, and now he's acting as a volunteer, and his expertise is being used down in Louisiana with all of the flooding. I'm betwixt and between going to this panel because, to be honest with you, I thought it doesn't really add a lot to this. It basically is political. And you know what, I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'll make a separate video if somebody wants to see that, and if they don't, then they don't have to look at it.